Are you a millionaire looking for opportunities to bank offshore? In this video, I'm going to break down the best options for you. Hi, my name is Rusudan. I have been working with Nomad Capitalist for 4 years, helping high net worth individuals legally reduce their taxes, get second citizenships, and go where they are treated best. So today I want to talk to you about some opportunities for offshore banking if you're a millionaire. We have a lot of clients and lots of people all around the world asking us, where should we go, where should we bank? Because no matter how good of a tax structure you have for yourself or for your business, if you do not have security in the banking system or the asset protection that you require, it is not strong enough to maintain that structure. So today I want to tell you about some options out there that will help you achieve your goals in the banking part of your structure. So the first thing that I want to discuss today is why do actually people go to bank offshore? There are a couple of criteria there and a couple of options or opportunities that people are looking for. So the first thing is diversification, of course. I think that if you have been listening to us and watching our videos, you know that we are always advising and striving for diversification to make sure that you do not have all your assets in one country where you probably are also. So it is very important for you to have the opportunity and the security of having your assets diversified. And I think that banking gives you a good option, and it is a very easy step to start with in your nomad journey. So you could just tip your toes in and open a bank account in a country. And it gives you the opportunity to check out how offshore banking works, and if you're comfortable with that, and then take the next steps. First plus and the first advantage of offshore banking is just having the diversification and being present in different jurisdictions, so you're not dependent on your country or any other country. And if something changes in that country, you have the security of having some of your funds elsewhere. The second option and the second kind of advantage of offshore banking is also asset protection, because we've seen that in most countries there are a lot of reporting requirements that countries have towards each other or toward tax authorities and governments, and you can see in offshore banking there are some opportunities still where those reporting obligations are a bit limited. So maybe there are some countries where they will not be talking about your funds or even the fact that you have an account with that bank. So that is also, if it's a priority for you to have this security, offshore banking is definitely a plus, and we're going to talk about this and the specific jurisdictions that offer these opportunities a bit later. The other consideration that I would always have with banking offshore is also tax, because maybe that's not something that pops up in your head from the get-go, but there are some countries that have, for example, remittance based taxation. So it means that if you move your money in that country, they will tax that money. That's for example, Ireland, and in some cases here in Malta too. So it is very important for you to understand if that country has some laws like that, and just to make sure that you're not doing something that's gonna raise your tax bill. We are here to make sure that you pay the minimum tax you can in the world, right? So these are the options, and these are the reasons why people bank offshore. What you should be paying attention to when you are banking offshore. Of course, the first one is how easy it is to open the bank account, and we're not aiming for the easiest way to open the bank account. We're aiming for something that is doable, right? So if you need to go to that country and open the bank account in person, can you do that? Are there any visa requirements that you need to fulfill, or anything else? And also, what is the minimum deposit? Because in some countries, especially when we're talking about offshore banking for high net worth individuals, where you want to park maybe a bigger portion of your funds, it is very important for you to have the security of the bank, right? So you are going to aim for a bank that is very stable, that is very well capitalized, or also in a jurisdiction that has the political and economical stability, so you're not in constant fear of something happening in that country. The other thing that I would pay attention to, of course, is, as I said, minimum deposit, because most of the wealth management banks and most of the well-known, renowned banking jurisdictions, they unfortunately have really high minimum deposits. We're talking anywhere from 1 to 5 million or even more, depending on the type of the banking features that you want. So it is something that you definitely should take into consideration when you're making a decision. And the importance of it lies also in choosing different between different banks and jurisdictions. So one can have 5 million as a minimum deposit, one can have 1 million as a minimum deposit. It is a rather big difference there, and also what kind of wealth management and investment opportunities that they are offering, because when you're like putting so much of your money in one place, you do not want that money to be just sitting there. You want to invest, or you want to have like some kind of a return on that. And banking options and opportunities vary in that regard. So I'll always pay attention to what kind of like interest rates they have, which currency is something that would be stable or not. And this is a very important decision, but it is a decision that is going to secure your future and make sure that you do not have to worry about your funds daily in the coming days and months and years, because we are looking for like long-term stability. Now that we've spoken about why people go to bank offshore and what are the criteria that we are looking for when choosing the offshore banking jurisdiction, let's break it down and go into a list of countries that we consider to be good options for millionaires to bank offshore. The first one that comes to mind, not surprisingly, is Singapore. Singapore is a huge financial hub in Asia, and over the years it has maintained and grown into a really powerhouse of like financial banking. It has not given people any concerns that it's gonna change or it's gonna introduce some laws that are going to make your funds a bit more inaccessible or not secure enough. So that is Singapore has given people very stable economical and political environment. It is a hub, so it gives you a lot of opportunities. A lot of good, strong banks are there. The ability for you to choose from like really strong banking options, it definitely is easy for people to make those decisions. And now Singapore does have, I would say, rather high minimum deposits in most cases, and also you have to. I think that it is easier for you. You can open it remotely, the bank account, but maybe in some cases, especially if you're like banking there for business purposes, it is better to like go in person and kind of get things done faster. But that is just from our personal experience, because you can definitely open bank accounts remotely in Singapore, which is a huge plus, especially if you're a busy person. Like even just one visit to a country for a bank account opening may not be something that you want to waste or spend your time on. So definitely Singapore is going to be on our list. The second country, but not that I'm saying it's least, is Switzerland. We cannot be talking about wealth management and high net worth individual banking without mentioning Switzerland, because even if maybe the requirements in Switzerland and there's a bit less of like the protection on the bank account holder in regards to like sharing the information and reporting the information to different government institutions, Switzerland still maintains its leading position in offshore banking. It is a bit hard to open a bank account in Switzerland. I think that they are a bit picky in regards to who they work with, because they obviously can, and there's like the history of very strong banking structure and strong laws that protect the bank account holder. Now they do not have the 100% secrecy that they have maintained for so long. They do have a bit more of a reporting opportunities, reporting requirements, but that doesn't mean that it's not still secure and one of the options for you. In Switzerland, I would say that one drawback is maybe it's a bit more like paperwork. And in most cases, I would say that you need somebody, not local, but somebody well connected to help you go through the process faster. Because in our experience, it takes a long time to open a bank account. In most cases, you have to go through a very vigorous KYC and verification process. You have to provide all the documents. In most cases, in paper, like you mail them directly to the bank, or as I said, sometimes it helps to have somebody kind of in the middle helping you coordinate, because banks in Switzerland always prefer to speak to and be in communication with a local representative rather than do everything remotely, even if you then at the end send the documents in original. So for Switzerland, I would say that I would definitely keep in mind that it's going to be somewhere between 1 to 5 million for a minimum deposit, and that is something that may be a big decision, but at the very least we know that Switzerland is not gonna have any like risks or concerns in regards to being able to provide you the funds, and like your funds there are going to be very secure. One other option that I want to talk about, and I'm kind of thinking about like there are two very close to each other is like the UAE banking. It is another very strong hub. It has risen a lot in the financial scope, and it also provides a lot of good banking options. What is one drawback for the UAE banking is that I think that all the features and everything is more available for the resident. So if you're not a resident, maybe not every feature for the banking will be available to you. You may be able to open the bank account to have it fully functional. I think that being a resident there really helps. That goes for like both personal banking and also the business banking. So if you have a company in the UAE in the free zones and you're not a resident there, maybe it's not going to give you all the features and all the opportunities that it would to a resident person in the UAE. One other option that I would mention for of course is Hong Kong too. Even though maybe there are some concerns and drawbacks in regards to the connection to China, I think that Hong Kong banks are still maintaining their strong presence in the banking system, and it is definitely worth considering, especially just to see just to compare to other banking opportunities, and just maybe seeing, even if it's not the best option for you, just to see what kind of options and opportunities are out there. And now in Hong Kong, the banks are getting a bit more strict in regards to who they work with, as they are more requiring a bit more connection to Hong Kong. So I would definitely pay attention to in regards to tax, like if you have a business in Hong Kong, if you have a company in Hong Kong, you are probably trying to get the offshore tax exemption. So how would that work with the banking? Because with the bank account, for the all new bank account, they are requiring a bit more connection, like maybe an office there or like somebody working from Hong Kong, which may not make being conflict with your tax requirements. So an option to consider, but may not be the best one for high net worth individuals. Now, I would want to kind of give an honorary mention to Liechtenstein and Luxembourg, because those are the jurisdictions with very strong banking options. They are kind of similar to Switzerland, I would say, because in security and kind of like the old school approach, which I'm saying in the best way possible, old school approach to banking, where it gives you protection, security, and the stability of a jurisdiction, and also the banking options that we see in those countries. Now that we have broken down the list of countries for millionaires to bank offshore, I hope that it gives you a good understanding of where to start looking. And as a next step, I would say that just to prepare for you to open a bank account offshore, even if you decide, like, it doesn't matter which banking options you decide to go for and which jurisdiction, there are certain steps that are kind of going to be similar in every case. The first one is you have to decide what is your like priority. Do you want asset protection? Do you want political security, etc.? Are you paying more attention to like tax? Once you have decided, it will narrow down your options from those countries that we spoke about, and maybe you have some others in mind. The next step for you is to, of course, get the requirements, reach out, see what you need to do. Disregarding specific requirements, there are a couple of items that are going to be the same for every bank, which is you need to have a passport. In most cases, I wouldn't say that you always need to certify it, but I would definitely make sure to check if they need a certified copy, or just providing them a scanned copy is enough. Of course, this all also depends on, like, are you doing a remote opening or do you plan to go in person? Besides the passport, you will most definitely need a bank statement, some kind of a proof of address. That can be also a utility bill. One note that maybe not everybody pays attention to is that banks pay attention to your tax residence. So it's one thing to show them where you are a resident, where you physically reside in most cases, but they pay attention to tax, because as we know, that can be different from your, like, tax residence can be different from your residence. So pay attention and make sure that you have those documents on hand. Maybe they will ask for it. In some cases, that's going to be like a certification of tax residency, or like the recent tax declaration that you have filed in your country, in your tax residence country. They always pay attention to the source of funds. So if you're an individual and you are opening a bank account and your source of funds is like proceeds from the business, like dividend or something, they will most definitely look into what the business does, like maybe ask you to provide financial reports or audited financial reports if you have them, and in some cases, like ask you to provide proof that you have received the dividend or whatever, in whatever form you are getting paid from your business. If your source of funds is a sale of like a business, they are going to ask you for the agreement, etc. If it's for like a property sale or something like that, you will be asked to provide the proof of that as well. So I would definitely say that, especially when we're talking about like those jurisdictions that have such security and they work with high net worth individuals, I would say it is better to be proactive and prepare all those documents. So passport, utility bill, or like any kind of proof of address, and the source of funds, and also depending on the source of funds, maybe a bit more details and go a bit more in detail and be ready to provide context in that regard too. So hopefully this video gave you some good options to look into in more detail and see what is the best opportunity and what is the best jurisdiction for you to go banking offshore. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you're interested in more opportunities, go to nomadcapitalist.com/apply, and we will be more than happy to explore those with you.